All right, how's everybody doing? Jared Napolitano here. I'm the marketing advocate for the Star Wars CCG Players Committee. First off, this is not ideal timing to break this news, but it's hard to find a time carved out. So hopefully this will just be a short stream to explain Series 2 deck boxes and the 2023 donations program. Right now on the PC Twitch channel, SWCCG PC, an OCS matchup between Paul Myers and Greg Shaw is taking place. So I'd recommend watching that right now, and maybe watching this after the fact. You could do multi-Twitch as an option as well, but really just wanted to get this out sooner rather than later, and so people can reference it and utilize it, because just an interesting timeline of trying to get this news out as quick as possible, but also trying to find a spot that doesn't conflict. So with that preamble, the Series 2 deck boxes have been spoiled across different PC social media: Instagram, Discord, Facebook group, Hollow Theater, Twitter, and Slack. I think that's everything. So all 6 boxes. And I just received them, the 6th batch, or all of them, finished up today. This is October 27th. And these go hand in hand. The Series 2 deck boxes going hand in hand with the 2023 donations program. For the, how do I phrase this? It is very likely that the donations program in 2023 will be the exclusive place to get these deck boxes. So some people might think that's awesome. Some people might think, wait, that's not cool. Last time they were attainable in a couple different ways, including by going to events, sometimes playing at events. So one of the items of feedback which I received often was there was an inequity in how players or collectors or supporters or whoever in the community had access to these deck boxes, because some people just don't play, some people just collect. They want to support the PC, they want to get the deck boxes. So the approach we had was, as an advocate council, let's order these. People can get them. Everyone has equal access to them. The only quote unquote barrier will be a donation. These are going to be the foundation of this program. I've gotten a lot of feedback over the year of they just wish they could get more throughout the program. They don't have time to play in events. They don't have the financial status to travel to events, to get on planes, stay in hotels. The registration fees typically $45, $35 for events. So I don't think this path is more, necessarily more pricey to get the boxes. And I'll get into one of the pluses in that you can get more than one of these. Last year for the donations program, no matter how much you donated, the standard was you get one box, you get one choice. So I'm just going to, again, try to keep this short, but go through the different aspects, discuss maybe some questions or anticipate some questions people may have. So let's start there. And I can also explain kind of the reason on maybe how we arrived at these choices. But I just posted on the forums the 2023 donations program is available. It's also available at starwarsccg.org/donations. It's a little easier for me personally to modify the format on the forums, but a lot of the core information should be the same on both of these, and it's a little easier, I guess, from a URL perspective to get to the website, and it also cross-posts in the middle here on the forum, so you can click on both. All right, so the donations program. I'm going to post this link to the stream up here after this concludes. So here we have our 6 deck boxes. We have Lord Sidious, BB-8, Boba, Captain Harrison Dula, General Grievous, and the Grand Admiral Thrawn AI V card. So the program will open November 15th, 10 a.m. Eastern. People don't have to stay up until midnight, get up in the middle of the night, because there is going to be a little bit of limited availability on a couple of the donation incentives. So that's where we wanted to have it like a reasonable hour, for West Coast, East Coast, or European player base. So November 15th, 10 a.m., that's when it'll open. It'll span 4 months until March 15th. You have to do 2 things. You click on the link here, you donate an amount, and then you go and you fill out the Google Forms document, which is very robust this year, and it kind of anticipates a lot of the things that caused the logistical, some challenges last year. Like, for example, we didn't ask for mailing addresses last year, so a lot of it at the time of the donation, so we had to kind of send emails to people, track them down, maybe if they moved. A lot of times we had the people's addresses on record because they participated in other things or got stuff for other reasons. But that's very comprehensive. There's also ways to opt out. Some, incentives people just don't want, and we don't want to print and spend money on producing stuff that people genuinely don't want, won't use. So that's where there's options for that, and we'll get into the survey in a minute here too. Let me pop that open. We'll go through that quickly, but yeah, everyone has to fill it out. Last time there was a couple choices that you didn't have to make any choices as a tier one donor. This time everyone needs to fill it out because we need we need addresses if nothing else. But there's also going to be some choices. Reminder: no one should ever sell or resell, whatever phrase people want to use, anything with the PC logo on it, or any virtual card, any printouts, anything like that. So let me zoom in here a little bit so people can see. So here we have our chart, and this kind of summarizes it of how much you donate, what you get exactly. So we have Deckboxes are going to be like the primary kind of flagship of the program. Poker chips, you get the more rare mobile one as you go higher, and that upper two tiers. There's going to be they're unprecedented horizontal alternate image foil slips that everyone gets, all tiers get. You get the pair of them. We're also going to do a themed virtual poster like we've done the last 2 years. 2 years ago, we did Rogue One themed. Last year, we did The Force Awakens from a dark side perspective. This year, we're going to be doing light side from a sequel trilogy perspective. So it's going to be a lot of stuff that coincides with the Legend objective or episode 8, a little bit of episode 9 in there. We're also going to have the printouts. People like those, but the master printout. First of all, the master PDF needs to be updated still, just because there's been a lot of change and there's just a lot of priorities for proofing, graphics, and the whatnot. So we're going to print out all V19 on nice quality paper, all virtual set 20, which should be released in December, and recent errata, in case there's any of those. And then every December, there's a handful of alternate images that come off their exclusivity period. They're available for people to just print on regular paper. The foils are still exclusive to certain things, but there'll be a wave of AIs that'll be available, and that'll be part of the printouts as well. There'll be a free event voucher for all tiers 2, 3, 4. So that right there, usually anywhere between $35 and $50 of value. And then there's going to be, we call them swag or functional items. So everyone will get a choice of playing cards with the PC logo, good for poker. Other card games, you get a choice. You might be able to get like a 9-inch metal spatula, which we've done some research. That'll be kind of helpful and handy for people who like to cook. And then also a keychain, and the keychain will probably have like a flashlight or bottle opener. It'll have some type of a functional thing with it. I haven't ordered that yet, but that's where I'll get into in the FAQs. But we want to let the program go, see how much we have to order all that, package it, go from there. And the third item are the early donors. So if you donate within the first month, you get a choice of a couple of these items. These are not new, like the golf balls, the black PC trucker hat, which I'm wearing right now, the black winter hat. Actually, I should actually put the picture up of. I'll post that as well of most of the items. I took them all together. The BC20 water bottle. A lot of people have these. A lot of these are a couple of these items, as we'll get into the swag choice too. They were available last year, or some of them were available 2 years ago. Like the shield sleeves were part of the 2021 program. Maybe you didn't donate in 2021. You're doing 2023. Those shield sleeves probably appeal to you. The PC20 sleeves, I have a very limited amount of those left. Those are one of the items that I don't think make sense, just like the PC20 water bottle. They don't make sense to print again. They're kind of timely to the PC's 20th anniversary in 2022. So once those are used up, again, those were part of the program last year, so a lot of people probably don't want that. The PC poker button set too, or maybe people donate different tiers this year versus last year. So like the button set was, I think, a tier 3 last year. So not everyone got it. Maybe they want that. So the shield sleeves are something we can order more of. Same with the button sets. No, that's going to be very, very difficult to get more of. So I have a feeling people might get the shield sleeves, or maybe the poker buttons. And then the uncut sheets for tier 3, we're going to do the commons again. And for the highest tier, we'll call it the Beskar level, a rare uncut sheet of Decipher. Star Wars CCG cards. So yeah, we talked about the early donors. We talked about, so these are incremental. Pretty much at all cases, the higher tier gets you everything from the tier below it. The only exception to that is down here where you get a rare sheet instead of a common sheet. So you sub out the common for the rare. And I've been kind of bearing the lead here. I touched upon it, but you can, if depending on what you want to donate, you can get all 6 boxes. And this is where I want to get into it because the boxes aren't cheap. but they are very attractive. People do not need these deck boxes. Some people might argue I literally need these, but we had the Series One. We had 540. I think we distributed about 480 of them so far. And I think someone already asked the question in Slack, can you still get Series 1? I do have about 10 to 20 left over of the Ray, the Blizzard 8, the Radis, and the Betrayer Vader. I only have a couple left of the Kylos, and I don't want to allocate them, and the Ahsokas are gone. So people can choose those if they didn't have a chance to get them. And so at the bottom tier, I shouldn't say bottom, tier 1, you can get a deck box. You can get one of the new deck boxes. You can get one of the old ones. If you want to do two-tier or tier 2, you get 2. If you want to do 4, you get 4. So that's where, depending how much you really, really like these, you can do that. And these, with a lot of not-for-profits or charitable organizations, they call these Kickstarter, or they do these thank you gifts. A lot of times, like, the ASPCA, I know you contribute, they give you a calendar, they give you kind of cool stuff. So that's where we want these to be equally accessible to everyone globally. If you're an international person, we're not going to charge you any extra for shipping. And let's see, other things I want to touch upon. So yeah, so you can get 1, 2, 4, 6. Again, do not sell these, do not resell these. You can trade them for other stuff. I know it kind of gets a little tricky when you're maybe trading some PC foil slips or PC poker chips or PC deck boxes for decipher items, and how much people value all different stuff. It's stuff is worth what how much people want it, but do not sell these items that have PC merchandise or virtual slips. So I think we touched upon this. The cutoff will be the March 16th or March 15th. April, May, we'll do the process of ordering, prepping, packaging, and then hopefully by the end of June, we'll ship them all out. This year, I think we had a pretty good timeline. Last year, we went like December 15th to April 15th. And I would say like 75% of the items got out by June. There were a couple straggler items. A lot of items I just kind of combined with other people's stuff, or there were some things I didn't have in like the middle of June, but I still sent everything else that I had, and then I sent them another wave. So I am really hoping this year that everyone gets one package and not 2, 3 different packages of stuff. It'll save on shipping. 6 deck boxes and an uncut sheet to find an item, or to find a packaging item that fits all that is kind of tricky. It's got to be like a really wide tube, but we'll go from there. So you can just reiterate, the boxes we've ordered are for the program. If there are leftovers, which is very possible, I'm estimating here based on last year. If there are extras, we'll have to decide on how best to distribute those. I do want to carve out a handful for Advocate Award winners, for people who do exceptional volunteerism, like we did last year where people got deck boxes. That's the one item that definitely jumps out to me besides the donations program. And yeah, so let's see, other stuff to talk about. So again, so here's the webpage. It's probably hard to see, it's kind of zoomed in, but a lot of this information is redundant with the forum post. You click on the donate, you fill out the document. Let's talk about the document. So here we have it. Let me zoom in a little bit. Again, I encourage everyone, go watch twitch.tv/swccgpc. There's an OCS game going on. You can always watch this later. But there's a lot of games today, and trying to balance getting the news out here and trying to give people a runway, because again, it starts on the 15th, which is 3 weeks away. Just wanted to get people aware of this, and again, because I don't want to tell people on November 14th, hey, here's the whole program, and by the way, there's some items that are dependent on limited availability. All right, so we have our preamble. Thank you for donating. We have our 501c. Do not sell. So we want your first, last name. We want your preferred email address. Sometimes the email address that people use that defaults when they complete these forms, or sometimes the email address they have linked to their PayPal account is not their actual email address. So please give us the preferred email address, the one you check the most often. Mailing address. If you move anywhere between November and June, please send an email to marketing@starwarsccg.org. Let us know your new address, so we don't prepare all these things, ship them somewhere, and then they either get lost in the mail, never delivered, or they get sent back, and then we got to spend some extra money on postage. So please let us know about that. Then you come down here, you get to pick your boxes. So we'll cross-check the number of boxes that you select versus the amount you donate. But you can, if you do the tier 1, you get 1 box. If you do tier 6, you get 6. Like I said, there is, these are subject to availability. That's why they have the star, the series 1. They do have some left over. So once those are gone, they're gone. Another thing I do want to keep in mind, I don't want to make no guarantees, no promises. like I said, I estimated how many boxes we'll need based off last year. I tried to be pretty conservative and get a lot extra. But the way this community is and how everything's been going and all the great things that everyone's been doing and how many games people have been playing in person and online, wouldn't surprise me if we kind of blow through the the amount that I have. So in that case, maybe we'll order more, but I can't make any guarantees. The tricky thing with that will be, um, you know, we can't just order like 10 more, or 20 more. There's a lot that goes into the different aspects. But yeah, we're kind of estimating here. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Just in today's world, you never know. Our manufacturer, we've had a lot of iterations going back and forth and fine tuning these. And actually, that's one of the changes this year. Let me grab one. One of the changes, this was requested by Scott. The inside this box, it goes down further, if you guys can see, because a lot of times it's like a half-inch higher. So when you have your cards in, you're pulling your cards out, it would like hit that little lip, and it would kind of work it down. So that's one functional change that we made. But yeah, so point being, we don't know in 4, 6, 10 months with 100% certainty that our same manufacturer can do these timely. That's one of the reasons we can't make guarantees and why, just simply ordering another batch is not, a total straightforward thing. All right, so here we have, pick one of these Swag Choice 1 options. Down here, I just selected these. It's going to be a grid, so pick your top choice. Everyone, I have a feeling the PC20 ones will probably go first, although a lot of people got them last year. But it wasn't every single donor level last year. And there's a chance that, people just don't want these, in which case, a small chance, I would say. Some people opted out of things that surprised me, but rank 1 to 4 between the shield sleeves, the PC20 sleeves, the poker button set, and nothing. But you'll at least get your third choice, so you're gonna get something. You get the trucker hat for the early donor. I know Matt Crowley reached out. He was curious on how to get these. These are I have a bunch. I can order more if there's like extremely high demand for them. Same thing with the golf balls. Like I said, the water bottle, that's going to be, once it's gone, it's gone. And then the winter hat, we can order more of those as well. Again, down here, we just kind of a catch-all. Hey, if you really don't want any of these things, feel free to decline. Obviously don't feel obligated to, but at the same time, we would hate to have any of these things just go somewhere and to someone who absolutely does not appreciate, use them, throws them out. So we'd rather not go through that process if you genuinely don't want them. But of course, if you want them, you can have them all. The event voucher too, that's down here. That's more of like a tracking thing, just so we kind of have an idea of how many outstanding we have. And then there's one other thing I want to touch upon here, the poker chips. Yeah, so, let's steer away from transferring or giving stuff to other people or rerouting stuff. It just adds another layer of complexity to the process, which is a very, very big logistical exercise. Last year we had 125 donors. It was a lot of moving parts. So hopefully with the Google Forms doc, it's going to spit out into a spreadsheet. From there, we can manage the process and hopefully do it quickly as possible. So then once you're done, you hit submit. So we talked about those things. Let me just do real quick and then I can wrap up. Hopefully, what are we at? 18 minutes, 19 minutes. So the FAQs, I didn't fine tune these yet on the current year post, but I think some of these questions are relevant. So why are they overlapping? So this year we do not have the overlapping. We're doing these 4-month windows, and the main point of that is just to kind of consolidate all the program into a time span that we can then work off of and order stuff and have kind of a conclusive end. So it's not like this rolling thing where we're constantly trying to catch up and estimate and have excess. So that'll be the same as last year. And most people, almost everybody donates in the first month or two of the window anyway. This is an item that I already carried over to the website. If you really want to contribute, but maybe first couple months of the year are tough, talk with me, send me an email. We can work something out. We're not doing the customized foil slips this year. What does all this go to? Well, we just got a lot of new streaming equipment. I think it's called a Pelican. I know Dan and Scott are much more familiar on all the technical aspects, but that helps with our streaming, helps with our exposure. A lot of this stuff we invest into other prizes that we can, give out without, the company events. They help subsidize a lot of different things that the PC does. But prizes, events, keeps us going. So I can give a pretty exhaustive list, but I don't want to go on and on. But there's a lot of things, a lot of enhancements, a lot of improvements that the community has been making, and that's where these donations are very, very critical and helpful to constantly keep getting better. to just think and just be better, as some people say. um, this is also another FAQ carries over. You can't, do two $100 tiers and then get like two pairs of the AIs, or you can't get like two sets of the poker chips. Like it's whatever you contribute for the entire 4 months, whether you do that in one lump payment or you do it in three payments. At the end of the period, we'll just assess. I'll just do a pivot table of, to capture people that did multiple rounds. Let's see the tiers. The tiers changed slightly. Last year we just had barely anybody did the $25 or $50 tiers, and I think a few of the people that did messaged me afterwards that saying that they were regretful they didn't do the higher one because like they didn't get the custom sheet or the deck box. So I just think people that are prone to contribute are going to do at least 100, and that's where you're trying to manage again from a logistics perspective. We don't want to have 7 tiers and all these different things. So the less tiers, the more compact the program is, the better. Is there any incentive to donating like 1,000 versus the high tier of 600? Last year I said this. I only had a couple instances where this worked out. I would rather keep things as uniform and as systematic as possible, not have any kind of one-off things. I mean, we always appreciate some people that go above and beyond, but in terms of like systematizing that, it's another layer, and then we have to be very careful. Just make sure we're very fair when we do that. So I'd steer away from that, but yeah, ideally people kind of contribute in those increments of the tiers. What if you don't want any of the incentives? That's where I have the options now. You can opt out on certain things. A lot of people would opt out of that high quality printout of the V slips. They might already have all the slips. Those things are a lot of paper. They're not as cheap as you might think, especially because there's something that's a lot better to outsource to like a Staples. Just from a time logistics perspective. If a couple years ago we did the master PDFs, those were like 110, 115 pages a pop. They're not getting any shorter. So maybe next year we do it for like a top tier, but those are a lot of that's a heavy lift, literally and figuratively, to do all that printouts. Do you have any issues with the Google Form document? Hopefully you don't. You shouldn't need a Gmail account to do a Google Forms. And yeah, so I think that covers pretty much everything. So again, kind of summary. The program is announced now. This is last year's. The post on the forums, the post on the website, starwarsccg.org/donations. Here are the 6 deck boxes. These are going to be, I don't want to say like exclusive. I don't want to say primarily. I don't think, it's not 100% certainty that they fit in either of those buckets, but I would say the likelihood is that they're going to be almost exclusively available through the donations program. So let me put it that way. And then we just have the pictures again. So yeah, so the tiers, I think a lot of this streamlines it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, like I said, I kind of weighed a lot of the feedback. I do think this is a better path forward, and it makes it as equal access to everybody as possible, whether you're a very active player, whether you're a player in Europe, player in the US, whether you're just a collector, whether you're a very passive player, whether you do retro format. I think it kind of satisfies all the concerns. Oh, one thing I'll mention at the end here, because I'm sure people ask, like, what was the process of deciding the images? So mainly it was me working with Christian Knudsen, our graphics lead, and I consulted the virtual image, ultimate image bracket that Dan ran, which was like 64, maybe it was even more, maybe 68 full slips of images that were all very, very great. And I think we're just getting better and better as an organization at making these images. So I consulted that, looked at how they did. I also took a fresh look. We have a full slip list that marketing uses for a couple different things. So I did a completely from the bottom up evaluation of all of our full slip images. And then narrowed it down again, trying to have a spread across the sequel trilogy, the original trilogy, the prequel, original, sequel. Have a balance between dark and light. Boba, that box, that one's really, really sweet. He kind of fits either to an extent, but we kind of bend the rules there a little bit because Hera and BB-8 are clearly light. Thrawn, Grievous, and Sidious are clearly dark. Boba, kind of on both sides. But I think the colors came out great. So then from there was also some limitations, just on the quality of the image and the orientation of the image. Some people mentioned Grogu. I mean, to be honest, I deferred a little bit to Christian on that one. He didn't suggest Grogu. I have a feeling it might have just been because he's so horizontal. That would be my one thing, but I know the image on that we have is very, very crisp and clear. But yeah, it was definitely tough narrowing it down. But I think these are all really good choices, and I think most of these probably shouldn't be a surprise to most people. But yeah, so that's how we ended up on the 6th. And I'm sure somebody's probably going to ask, what about Series 3 already? We don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I kind of underestimated, to be honest, the Series 1, the reception of that. I know Matt Corley, when he was still an advocate, said, these are going to be extremely well received. We should make them accessible to everybody. Um, and and we try to do that by events through OCS, perfect attendance. We did it through volunteerism. We did random ones were assigned to like the Java Brawl and the Gem PC for performance and for just random participants. Got a bunch. So we gave them out for a lot of different reasons last year. I think this year is just better just to streamline them. I don't think there's any argument. I don't think there's any credible argument that this is being discriminatory to any different group on in terms of access. So I think this is the best path forward. But yeah, I very very happy how they turned out. All right, so with that, I'll stop blabbing. We have the post. If you have any questions, either PM me or you could post in the forum post on this topic. Like I said, the website section's operational, the forum's operational. Don't donate before November 15th. And yeah, and then again, hopefully kind of answers every questions. But I do want to assure everybody we've kind of considered all the different angles of this, pluses, minuses of exactly every single decision here. But I'm excited to how this unfolds, and I will upload a picture right after this of most of these items that are referenced here. A couple of them we won't do quite yet, but I would like to have them available while the window's still open. Like the AIs, for example, I'd like to show them off because one of them is already done. It looks absolutely amazing. The poster, David Woods helped me with that. We drafted that up a little bit, so that just needs to kind of come to fruition. And then like the playing cards example, I haven't even ordered those yet, but hopefully most people can use their imagination. All right, so with that, thanks to everyone for tuning in here, watching us on replay or watching it live. Hopefully this explains a lot of the reasoning. And looking forward to another really, really great donations program year. I think last year and the last couple of years have been awesome, and a lot of people on the marketing team and advocates and other groups go into helping this all happen. So a big thanks to them. There's a lot of people that contribute to this process. All right, everyone, take care. Go watch the OCS games. It's a big day today on October 27th. There's like 6 games. All right, take care. Bye.